Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition, the final edition of Interactive Wrestling Radio right here on WrestlingEpicenter.com and YouTube. It's James Walsh, joined as always by Mr. Patrick
The last
Kelly.
one ever?
Did I say ever?
Well, you said the last one. You didn't
last one of
at
2011. Of 2011.
Whoa, newsflash. I was like, whoa, didn't know that.
Yeah, no, the last one of 2011. And hopefully this episode will be better than the last Raw of 2011, because I have to be honest, I actually fell asleep.
James, we could have taped a couple of kids in a wrestling school going over the basics of bumping and having a very simple match, and it would have been more entertaining than half the shit they put on Raw.
What we could do is we could tape a couple of 8-year-olds with...
Period.
What's that again?
Well, I was going to say the last few shows from both Raw and Impact, I don't even bother with SmackDown because there's just no life over there. But it just feels like they've been half-assing every week. Kind of like, at the end of the year, nobody's watching.
It felt like that to me, and I will agree with you on that. Not so much the main eventers on either show, but the mid-carders has just been very bad. I think the Knockouts division in particular, that match, they have to look at the crowd reaction to that match. And I know it's in the Impact Zone, and I know it's a familiarity complex with the crowd knowing everybody so well. And I know that it was not, Mickie James in the match. But there were people sitting on their hands, and that was not good.
Well, the one thing...
I don't think it was their fault. I think it was the way it was booked.
Well, that's just the point of it. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, James actually posted... It might be time to get rid of the knockout division on his Facebook.
I didn't mean it that. It might be time to revamp it, at least.
Oh, but you don't understand, it's part of a storyline, and maybe I'll be honest, it could have been done better, but the storyline was supposed to be a heel screwing up two faces and trying to cause a problem between them. It wasn't the greatest thing ever, and it could have been done a lot better, but, I mean, it's not as bad as you were trying to make it out to be. I mean, it wasn't.
I used to describe SmackDown as a funeral because at a funeral people usually sit quietly and maybe have idle conversations very lowly, and you hear the slow, very low roar of a crowd that is very disinterested in basically anything. And that is what that felt like. It felt like a funeral. It just felt so depressing to watch because the crowd just didn't give a crap. And I felt bad for those girls because some of them are pretty good workers, and, I'm going to surprise some people by saying that I'm actually impressed with how good Miss Tessmacher has become in the ring compared to especially where she came from.
Oh, I think she might
She was one of the Kelly girls, wasn't she?
Yeah, she was. She was part of that Extreme expose. I mean, I'll be honest, when they hired her, my first thought was, and this is going to get TNA killed because this is exactly who they don't need to hire. And then she got in the ring, and I was like, holy hell, she's actually not that bad.
And she's gotten better. I mean, she's working hard to get better, and it shows.
And look who she's working with. She's got Tara as a tag team partner, so that can cover up any problems she might have. Yeah, but we all know Tara's very good.
Yeah, we say that, yet Eve Torres is working with Beth Phoenix, who's also considered a pretty good worker, and Eve still somehow manages to botch every other move.
And the sad thing is, Eve is still better than most of the other girls. I'll gladly take Eve over Alicia Fox, who is going, I'm telling you this, Alicia Fox is going to kill somebody one day. She is that dangerous.
Beth Phoenix. I thought she killed Beth Phoenix last week.
Yeah, that was not the planned finish for that match, was it?
I don't think it was. I think what happened was she knocked Beth unconscious and gave her a huge lump on the side of her face.
Because that was just an awkward finish, and it's like, wow, that was if that was legit, if that's how they wanted it to go, then she's a good worker. If not, then she might be deadly because that looked like it killed her. And Beth was not.
Well, right before that spot, she almost dropped Beth on her head with a suplex. They did like a back suplex, and she looked like she almost dropped Beth on her head. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, somebody show this girl how not to kill people.
Well, I mean,
you know what? What they got to do is the right thing, and what they got to do is, look, she's got a good body. I don't think anybody on the phone is going to deny that. use her for that purpose and not as a wrestler because she can't do it.
Well, James, though, that describes 90% of, what am I saying, 90%? That describes pretty much all of the women currently working for WWE on the main roster except for Beth and Natalya. I mean, there was even a report online.
Still there?
What?
Is Tarmina still there?
Who?
Tarmina. She was Snuka's daughter.
She sucks as worse than anyone. I'm sorry. She's horrible. She is fucking horrible. She cannot work. She doesn't even have a decent body. She is fucking horrible.
She's got an okay body if you put a paper bag over the head.
Well, let me put it this way. She looks like her dad. She definitely takes over after her dad as far as her looks go. So, yeah.
Anyway, this episode, by the way, do you want to finish up your point before I get us back on track?
I wanted to say something that's going to be considered very tasteless. Patrick, you said she takes after her father. Does that mean that she's going to shove someone off of a high balcony and then play the simple savage as Vince Sr. explains what went wrong?
You never know.
Snuka, for those who don't know, Snuka was reportedly threw some rat out of a, and by rat I mean a wrestling groupie, out of a hotel window and killed her. And he was never convicted of it. It was never proven, but that's kind of followed him for the past 30 years.
And the general story is that when the police came to investigate it, Snuka kind of kayfabed it and played his simple. At the time, he was kind of doing a savage character, not kind of the more warm and friendly "I love you, Superfly." So he basically let I think it was Vince Sr. kind of talk to the police while he just kind of sat there playing the savage.
I can totally picture that. That's the greatest thing ever.
I once was. This is a shoot, and then we're going to get on topic. By the way, the topic this week is be the top 5 workers of 2011. I once was going to interview Abdullah the Butcher, and it was going to actually be me interviewing this guy named Honest Dan, which anybody who names themselves Honest is clearly not very honest.
Yeah.
He's the manager.
That's an insult to my Uncle Honest Bill.
Oh, sorry. Didn't mean to insult your family. It was going to be me doing an interview with him, with Abdullah slapping his belly and making sounds in the background and writing down what he wants him to say. Because they wanted to keep it kayfabe that Abdullah can't talk.
Oh, my fucking God.
That was legit. That was 2003, 100% legit.
I
didn't do it. I didn't do it, and here's why. And I can reenact the conversation with you.
You need to explain why.
I was talking to Daniel about it. I'm like, well, he wants to do this. And then Daniel goes, that could work. And I said, I'm sorry. That's pretty freaking retarded. And I don't mean to insult retards. That's just stupid.
Yeah. I thought you were going to say that you didn't want to do it because you were afraid you'd somehow get hepatitis from the guy.
Ooh. I mean, that's almost as bad as doing a text interview with Low Key.
That was an Edler thing, but yes. Yeah. Oh, well. Here we go, guys. Top 5 wrestlers of 2011, and I think back of the year of wrestling. And it's been an up and down year, really. And there's been good and bad for both companies. There's been exciting storylines for both companies. And even on the internet, even I'll call them internet-only indie promotions have been pretty interesting, too. So basically,
by interesting, do you mean having the two guys that look like Evan Bourne wannabes wrestle for 45 minutes continually grunting instead of selling moves?
I didn't see Final Battle. I'll say this. I didn't see Final Battle, but a lot of the reviews I read were surprisingly negative compared to what Ring of Honor normally gets on the Internet.
Usually they get complete down the line, greatest thing I've ever seen. Greatest thing ever. Nothing can compare to it.
Yeah. Oh, good. Yeah, ROH had a pay-per-view main evented by Davey Richards and Eddie Edwards. They called it Best in the World. That is like the San Francisco 49ers. Hold on. I need a better reference here. That is like LeBron James saying, I have the smallest ego in the world.
Heh. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Anyway, so guys,
Or,
let's discuss, and we're going to base this basically on the amount of push that they got. Not necessarily, I'm not basing mine anyway on who's the best in-ring worker and all that kind of stuff. I'm going to base it on who accomplished and achieved the most in the year, and who.
That's where I'm going to.
Yeah, and who came
I'm actually
out of the year. Yeah,
go ahead,
exactly. And who came out of the year basically looking the best, and I think we're going to have a lot of similar lists here.
well, I'll be honest.
because not a whole lot of guys really stood out that much.
I'll be honest. Mine's going to be a little bit different, I think, because I based it on who has. I told you it's supposed to be a list about who the best in-ring worker is.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. Well, hey, whatever works out to be, that's fine by me.
Hey, whatever you want to go with.
Whatever your criteria might be, that's fine by me. And so, who wants to go first?
I'll go ahead.
All right. I heard Patrick. I don't know if Nick said he wants to go or not.
I thought I would go with it.
All right. Flip a coin here. Heads or tails, Patrick?
You go ahead, Nick.
All right. Number 5, I'm going to give to a guy who I'm going to say did it his way. He got himself over, and he actually somehow managed to get the WWE to follow in his, to actually allow him to get the opportunity, and that is Zack Ryder. Maybe the guy isn't the guy that's going to have the 60-minute Iron Man match and tear down the world and never do the same move twice, but the guy is a pretty decent worker. You cannot deny that he's over with the fans, and even though most of the year the WWE kicked and screamed their way to not push him, he even won them over. So I'm going to give it up to Zack Ryder.
The difference is money talks.
Yeah,
ACDC said, money talks!
Oh, God, don't start.
Well, money does talk, and that's why they started seeing, oh, my gosh, this crappy Internet thing is actually working.
Yeah. Which is funny because, unfortunately, though, I think in a weird way he might be the cause of the WWE Twitter orgasm that we're seeing every week.
By the way, I want to know what the hell WWE's looking at, because whenever they say something is trending on Twitter, I go onto Twitter immediately to go see if it actually is trending, and it's never there. So I don't know what the hell they're looking at.
Well, this is a company that still claims they drew 93,000 people in a building that at best holds 80,000 with the floor used.
Yeah, I'm not going to go that one. Let's keep on going.
All right, number 4 is a guy that we kind of thought was winding up his in-ring career last year, and we all were kind of thought, okay, it's time. And then he kind of got a new spark, and that was going crazy, and that is the insane icon, Sting. I mean, again, not the greatest in-ring work this year, but I think when you look at the spark he got, a lot of those promos, the stuff he did with Hogan was all pretty good, and I think, it was a nice way to maybe wrap up the regular in-ring portion of Steve Borden's career, as it does appear he's transferring into kind of more of a talking role, purely kind of playing the GM role in TNA now. Number 3 is a guy that I've always been a big fan of, and he did something this year that I thought he would never get. James Storm. His promos came up to a new level. His match work has always been pretty amazing, and I think, he won the world title this year. I think that's a big accomplishment, even though, yes, someone doesn't win a world title. It means a lot. Even for a week, the company said, okay, we're going to reward you with this opportunity. Number 2, Storm.
Can I make this point too? One last thing, and I don't want to interrupt, but the cool thing about that is, back in 2003, when Chris Harris was getting his kind of shove at the championship with his match with Jeff Jarrett, I remember James Storm coming up to him and going, "You're going to get the chance to be the world champion," and it just seemed like he was so far out of that kind of conversation. To see him in 8 years progress to where he's not only in the conversation but is the champion was pretty cool.
Absolutely. And number 2 is Bobby Roode, Storm's longtime tag team partner. I think you look at the matches he had, especially in the Bound for Glory series, the promos he was cutting leading into Bound for Glory were amazing. And there was a huge misstep, none of which fell on him. That was all a company decision not to put the belt on him. And then when they did put the belt on him and they decided to turn him heel, this guy took the ball and not only ran for the touchdown, he then went back out on special teams, caught the ball again, and ran for another touchdown. the heel work he's doing now is some of the best in the business. And number one, how can I not put him at number one? The guy that cut the best promos all year, the guy that had a great match with John fucking Cena, the guy that brought more buzz to this industry in a long time, for the first time in a long time, that, of course, CM Punk.
You know, it takes a lot in this business to give me an opportunity to say that I was wrong, because I tend to agree that I'm right about everything. And I've said since basically he emerged in the WWE and showed what he can do and started doing things that everybody has since copied him doing, namely like the pointing to the WrestleMania logo. You know, he's the first one to do that. That's such a cool camera shot, and he's the first one to think of it. I said once upon a time after his TNA run that I didn't think this kid ever had it. I couldn't have been more wrong. He's amazing.
All right. That's actually a really good list, Nick. It's actually very similar to mine. My list. Number 5, I'm also going to go with Zack Ryder. I think you got to give the guy props, whatever you think of the whole woo-woo-woo thing and the internet stuff that he was doing. This is a guy that said, I need to save my job. So he went out onto a friggin' YouTube page, got himself over, and basically saved his job, and now he's one of the, most popular guys in the company. And they made the United States title actually seem like a worthy goal because he was going for it and the fans wanted him to win it. So kudos to Zack Ryder for having such a great breakout year.
And he has the best entrance music in the WWE.
Oh, radio. It's okay. It's actually pretty cool. I don't know who the hell it is, but it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is. Number 4, I'm also going to give it to James Storm. This is a guy who he didn't really get his big chance until the end of the year, right after Bound for Glory when he won the belt. But this is a guy that, again, like James said, it looked like he was going to be the Marty Jannetty of America's Most Wanted, and it looked like, again, he was going to be the secondary guy in Beer Money, and then he comes out and he wins the title, and it looks like TNA setting him up to be their top babyface for the near future. We'll see how that all plays out in 2012. But, yeah, James Storm gets a nod there. Number 3, and y'all might hate me for saying this, but I don't care. I'm going to give it to him. He only had one match this year, but whenever he's around, he generates such a huge spark that I can't help but feel like he's really contributed to the WWE product, especially with a year-long build-up for his WrestleMania match coming up, and that's The Rock. I mean, what else can you say about The Rock? The dude's just fucking amazing. And when he came back right before WrestleMania 27, it really was a case of, wow, you really don't realize what you have until it's gone. And having Rock back usually elevates the quality of the show. He's one of the few guys that whenever he's on a show, and they could be doing the stupidest crap ever, but as long as he's there, it comes off looking better than it actually is. And that's what Rock does. He's very good. And, the one match he had, I thought he looked really good in there, so hopefully that bodes well for his WrestleMania match with John Cena this coming April. Number 2, I'm going to give it to Bobby Roode, same reasoning that Nick gave. They did a really good job of pushing him into Bound for Glory. They fucked up at Bound for Glory, but then they made up for it with this awesome heel turn. And right now, as things stand, he's probably the character I'm enjoying the most in wrestling right now. Great heel, great everything. And again, he's another guy that I'm happy he finally made it, because I remember thinking in 2005, it's like, you know what, this Bobby Roode guy, he's got some good basic mechanics. They could probably do something with him in the future, and sure enough, look where he is now. And my number 1, no surprises, it's CM Punk. The dude cut one promo, and all of a sudden WWE was being covered by ESPN and TMZ and everything else in between. And it was a kind of credibility and relevance in the mainstream that WWE hadn't had in a long time. So that worked out really well. And even though they kind of fucked up with him later and they kind of watered him down a little bit to the point where he's basically just a sarcastic, wisecracking guy that just breaks the fourth wall every show, he's still a very good performer, and he's still the best thing the WWE has right now. So, it's no question in my mind. Just for what they did over the summer alone, CM Punk is my number 1.
Excellent. And you know what? I think we're all going to pretty much agree on that. But let's see how my list plays out. And number 5, based solely on his performance at Pro Wrestling Ohio's Resolution pay-per-view in August, Internet pay-per-view, ho!
I knew it. I fucking knew it. And I told you, Patrick. I told you. And now I'm going to fly to Arizona. I'm going to track Walsh down. I'm going to kick him in the head.
No, you got to beat him up with a 2x4.
He was, in all seriousness, he still does have it, and it's amazing to see. But no, I'm not giving it to him. I just was joking. Number 5, I'm actually going to give it to a guy who, if anything's going to get me killed on the internet, The Rock won't, but this guy will. I am going to give it to somebody who I think has had an interesting year because he's basically been in this transition period, and you could see it happening with the Kane angle right now and with Roddy Piper earlier in the year. Yep, no. Number 5, I'm giving it to John Cena.
All right, now I'm going to shoot you in the face.
What?
I'm going to track you down. I'm going to shoot you. I'm going to do a home invasion on your ass. I'm going to shoot you in the face in front of your wife and kids.
Oh, shit.
Okay. Number 4, I'm going to give it to Zack Ryder. Same reasons everybody else has given it to him. You know, I don't know how good the kid is actually going to be in the ring, and he's one of those guys that it might not matter, at least not right now. I think he'll be better in the ring than Santino, so I don't think you'll ever see him fizzle to where Santino's at now. But yeah, I think he's a guy who really created his own kind of buzz, and that's kind of cool to see. Number 3, I'm going to give to Sting, and I didn't actually originally plan on putting Sting on the list, but the psycho character that he created with his cackling laugh and everything, and, you know, it's such a topsy-turvy year for the guy because he came in and everybody saw it as a rip-off of the way they brought back whoever it was in WWE. I guess it was Undertaker.
The Undertaker, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. They saw it as such a rip-off of what they did with him, but he seemed to garner kind of even internet support because he went in there with a really screwed up Hardy and, you know, basically got out of there and had the courage to say, while the crowd is chanting bullshit at him, I agree. You know, that's I think won him a lot of points. And the stuff he did with Hogan, you know, Hogan obviously limited in terms of what he could do physically, was much better than it had any right to be. And I think Sting really earned it this year. Number 2, I'm going to go with, actually, you know, it's a toss-up. I was going to go with Bobby Roode, but I'm actually going to go with James Storm, just because his character is so strong right now. And I know Bobby Roode's character is strong too, but I think James Storm was kind of, for whatever reason, he's always managed to stay in that Marty Jannetty secondary role. And right now he's just firing on all cylinders. He has an awesome look. He's, you know, the spice of the company right now. He's just the baby face of the company, and I think that he very easily could go on to be this guy that they can actually market. Whether they will or not, it remains to be seen. But I like what they're doing right now. And number 1, you can't deny. Number 1 on all of our list, and he's going to be number 1 on mine. He's the, you know, best in the world, flat out best in the world, CM Punk.
All right. Yeah.
So my Cena has absolutely no chance of making the final list.
James?
Although I won't. You know what? I'll say this. In defense of Cena, even though I can't stand him, and he's kind of a bitch, and, you know, stuck up and everything else and all the other things that I hate about him, he was a part of the summer of Punk, where Punk was at his hottest. I mean, he was like, nobody else would have worked in that role besides Cena, because Cena is just the ultimate symbol of everything that's just wrong with the WWE. And, you know, the stuff with The Rock. It's like, you need The Rock. Okay, well, who's the best one to have Rock interact with? It's John Cena. So even though we might hate him, it's like, well, he's been a part of some pretty good shit. So
he has been a part. And Roddy Piper said it best in the promo he had with Hogan at Halloween Havoc 1996. Do you think they'd have loved you so much if they didn't hate me so much?
Yeah, but guys, it kind of using the argument that, you know, he was a part of that good stuff, he kind of stood around as good performers did that stuff around him. It's kind of like saying, I know, let's give credit to Brady Quinn for Tim Tebow's success.
Well, I mean, you got to look at it, though. The character is there. It is what it is. You can take it or leave it. Most people don't like it. most people don't seem to like it. Most internet fans, anyway. Little kids seem to love the guy, and he kind of just has always been, especially this year, just cannon fodder. We're gonna shit on you, and get over on you. And frankly, without that cog to help propel these other things that are going on, I don't think these other things would be half as cool as they turn out to be. So I am going to give him my nod. I don't expect it to make the final list, but I'm putting him on mine.
No, it won't. It won't. It won't make the but I'll defend. I see where you're coming from there on that one, James.
Exactly.
It's ridiculous. I'm sorry. I'm still gonna home invade your ass.
Come on, he wrestled at that paper. Should I go back to Hacksaw? Hacksaw wrestled at the pay-per-view and fought that Arab dude who didn't have an Arab accent.
James, all the other wrestlers in the world that you could have put on this list, and your two options are Hacksaw and freaking John Cena. Yeah, I mean, seriously, Davey Richards, Eddie Edwards, any mid-carder from the WWE. Seriously.
Well, you know what? I'll say this. A lot of other options that people would throw out there are probably like Mark Henry and Alberto Del Rio. I don't like those guys. And I didn't like
flat
this
out don't like either of those. And it's not racial with either of them. Del Rio...
Oh, it's racial.
Del Rio brings nothing special to the table. In fact, I asked the question the other day, and I'm not sure if you read this, Patrick. Is any of us really 100% sure that Alberto Del Rio is not just Silver King repackaged? Because he's just a generic Mexican. That's it.
Well, here's what I said. He feels like Adam Sandler playing a Mexican stereotype, playing JBL. And that's what they've got with him. And he's nothing special. I'm sorry.
Does he remind
if
you
not
of,
the worker... Say what?
He reminds you of Don't Mess with the Zohan?
Well, that was an Israeli character, so no.
Yeah,
that was a horrible movie as well. I'm sorry, that movie sucked. I usually like Adam Sandler stuff, but I did not like that one.
James, I agree with you, James. Having the poor Jews suffered enough.
Yeah, I mean it's bad enough. Look at the amount of attention Hanukkah gets compared to Christmas. It's like it's not fair.
All right, we should actually get into doing the final list. Now, I think Zack Ryder made all of our lists, and
Absolutely.
so did James.
I don't think he deserves to be any higher than number 4, though.
I would actually say number 5. I mean,
yeah.
I think he kind of is like, in a weird way, the best of the rest, where it's like any other year, he wouldn't be one of those guys that would have an honorable mention if even like one other person really emerged strongly,
Well, Cassie said to me the other day, don't you think he's borrowing a heck of a lot from Grandmaster Sexy? Yeah, a little bit. But you know what? Nobody else is doing it right now, so why not?
Yeah.
Who we should have? I'll tell you who else I would. And I did honestly have one honorable mention that I was on the fence about, and it's not Hacksaw. It was Dolph Ziggler, and that would be based only on work rate.
Well, he manages to stay over despite the fact that he is continually bumblefuck booked, and he carries around the 600-pound anchor of no charisma and go, excuse me, Vicky Guerrero. And I do not care what any of these idiots say. She is not over. She does not help anyone get over in any fucking way.
No, you know what? I'm going to be honest with you.
I flip the TV off, to be perfectly honest.
What's that, Pat?
She makes me want to flip the TV off, to be perfectly honest.
Look, I'm going to be nice to her for this reason. She's Eddie Guerrero's widow. And I still think that underneath whatever they're trying to make her, she is an attractive woman. Obviously not diva material. But I got to be honest, it's just... It's not something that I think needs to be on TV. If they're making her work off whatever Eddie contract or work so she can pay the mortgage on the house that she and Eddie built, just give them the money. I mean, I don't think she brings much to the table, but she's trying, and people are so hard on her, and I actually feel bad for her.
Well, I was one of those people in the beginning. I defend her. I thought that for the amount of experience she had, she was good. But the problem is she hasn't improved at all. And, and I agree with you. It's like, if it's about the money or something, just give it to her or find another role or something she can do within the company.
Put her in the office, let her work, connect her to the telephones at home via some kind of satellite out here in Scottsdale and let her answer phones for the office in Connecticut. Let her work that way. Let her do that, whatever, telephone operator. I'm sure she
let her
can
do what Gabe Sobalski and Stevie Richards used to do in ECW. Let her run start a fan hotline. Let her be in charge of that.
That's a true story, by the way. I once called to order an ECW tape and talked to Stevie Richards, and he denied who it was.
Do you think you're the kid he talks about on the tape on the Rise and Fall of ECW?
I thought about it. That also happened to me with Tito Santana and his hair salon. I called once, and he's like, "And you got to come over sometime because we're going to have Sergeant Slaughter do an autograph signing and get a haircut." And I said, "This is Tito, right?" Yeah. His wife.
Oh, wait! Who's the kid that Stevie Richards talked about on the DVD?
Well, it's not really a kid directly, but he said something like, and I never wanted to admit it was me, so my name was like Abe Shibata or something. or Lloyd Martin, or just some random name. Like say they were talking about like all this about how because ECW was so small, the wrestlers all had to have like secondary roles in like the office or merchandise wise, and Stevie's job was to do the hotline and stuff, the order your tickets, order your merchandise hotline.
Oh, is that how Francine got stuck singing Rick Rude's theme song?
What's that again?
Is that how Francine got stuck working Rick Rude's theme song?
Well, I mean, I think that was a double entendre to some degree because the story was that Rude had been with her as some kind of a thing, trade-off with Shane Douglas to basically have Rude stop, quote, fucking with the franchise, as they phrased it. But yeah, I think it was basically, look, you're a woman, you have a voice, and you're not Beulah, so you'll be sober enough to do it. How about you come and do this song?
See, I did not know that she did Rick Rude's theme song in ECW.
What's that again?
I did not know that she sang anything in ECW.
Oh, listen, you can totally tell it's her. We interviewed the guy, who was the guy that made the theme songs for
Harry
ECW?
Slash.
Yeah, and he said it was her, so.
It is her, and we actually, if you listen to the interview, just turn the volume up a little bit. You'll be able to hear him just fine. He's a little low on the phone, but you can hear him just fine if you turn the volume up a little bit. We actually play a lot of the theme songs that he recorded during the interview, which is actually very cool. And we play part of that interview, and it's basically Francine just making porn noises, which, nothing wrong with that.
Kind of hot, actually, if I can be perfectly honest.
Nothing wrong with that at all.
Well, yeah. I'll say this, God rest her soul, but it can't be any worse than Sherry singing Shawn Michaels' theme.
That was awesome.
I thought that was hot as hell.
I didn't think it was hot. I just thought it was kind of like perfect for that character that he would have. Because I think Jericho said it on one of the DVDs. It is so obnoxious to have a guy have his girlfriend sing his theme song, and I thought it was perfect.
Well, I agree. It fit the character. And again, God rest her soul. Sherry was blessed with beauty. She was, from what I understand, a very nice person from everything I've seen from her from James. She just did not have a very good singing voice.
And Michaels, by the way, true story, Jimmy Hart once said in an interview I did with him, I don't think Patrick was part of this one, but he said it was the same interview where Jimmy Hart told me he loves me, where he was talking about Shawn Michaels recording the theme song for himself. And most guys, when they go in and the Mountie records, I'm the Mountie and I enforce the law, it takes like 10,000 takes to get it. Michaels went in 10 minutes, recorded it once, nailed it. Nothing else needed to be done. He came in, recorded it, and he was gone.
I also wonder, though, if they played it once and Jimmy was like, do you want to do another take? And Sean's like, no, that's as good as we're ever going to get it. My voice sucks.
I could, but this Vicodin's about to kick in.
All right, let's try to get back to this list.
Okay, Zack Ryder at 5. Probably Sting at 4, right? Because I didn't have Sting on mine, but both of you did.
Yeah, well, we'll put him at 4 for now, if we want to debate something. Although
okay.
I think that's where he's going to wind up. I would say James Storm, number 3, because we had him on all 3 lists.
Mm-hmm.
Or
maybe number 2.
See, that's just it. As much as I like Storm, I feel like he made a push really late. And again, he had some great matches, but I think on the whole of the year, Punk and Rude did more. And they're the 2 guys that we should debate for 1 and 2.
I think I would agree with that, honestly, because they did the whole, the Bound for Glory series, and he was always a front.
Which is a great idea, by the way. I hope TNA keeps doing that.
It is a brilliant idea, and it's just a simple concept of wins and losses matter.
Which, by the way, unless, of course, you're some fat, dumb motherfucker from Minnesota who still complains he has no idea how you score points. He was like, that's the most convoluted point system I've ever heard. A submission gets 10 points, a pinfall gets 7 points, a countout or DQ gets you 3 points, you get disqualified, you lose 10 points. What the hell's wrong with them? This is impossible to figure out. No one will ever figure this out.
Then that motherfucker must be obviously just be completely confused by football. Because football has way more complicated rules than the Bound for Glory.
So wait a minute. You tackle them in the end zone and you get 2 points. Why don't you get 7?
Yeah.
And you score a touchdown and you get 6 points, but you can go for 1 or 2 extra points? Why are we doing extra? What did they do to deserve extra? They scored a touchdown. I don't understand.
Yeah, I'll be honest.
I mean, if the Bound for Glory series is confusing, then that guy could never follow football.
Who are we referring to?
I'm not going to say his name, but he runs a website where every single news story he likes to give his opinion on something.
Okay.
He's a fat, dumb motherfucker who claims that he's the most balanced guy in pro wrestling.
I think I know who you're talking about. I'll leave it alone.
I don't, but I'll go with it. Does it start with a D and first name D, last name M?
No, it's actually not that guy. It's
not that guy. Okay, good.
It's a fat, bald motherfucker from Minnesota.
All right, let's leave it at that. And I think we're good with the list that we got. Let's run it down here and see if we all agree. 5, Zack Ryder. 4, Sting. 3, James Storm. 2, Bobby Roode. 1, CM Punk.
Agreed.
Do we agree?
Yeah, that's a good final list.
Absolutely. And you know what? Sting was right. And you know what? I do think that we can give honorable mention to people like Dolph Ziggler, who is just, frankly, when he comes on, I don't fast forward through his matches because he's just so damn entertaining to watch in the ring. He bounces around like a pinball. He's the closest thing I've ever seen to Kurt Hennig.
Right.
In terms of
and you and I were on the phone one night. You and I were on the phone one night watching Raw during a Ziggler match. He was wrestling Randy Orton. And we were like, holy crap, they did the finish, whatever the finish was. It looked awesome. And, Ziggler is just very, very impressive. And he's going to get a world title shot next week. He's not going to win, but,
I mean, I feel bad for that guy in a lot of ways because I feel like even that, they make him such a second fiddle sometimes in his own storylines. It's like, okay, this guy is probably the best in-ring worker you have in terms of selling and a willingness to bounce around for other guys. He is Shawn Michaels and Kurt Hennig at their peak in terms of that willingness and that ability, and you just book him so horribly. I mean, he won a world title last year, ladies and gentlemen, and no one remembers it, and it was the worst booked title. It was the worst way to win a world title ever. And he didn't even get to actually, I don't even think he ever held the belt. He ever actually got to physically pick up the belt.
No, it's one of those, and they do that to a lot of people. Jack Swagger, we were talking about it with him in 2010. I would even go a step further. Daniel Bryan, fuck. I forgot he was working for the WWE until like a couple weeks ago, and all of a sudden he's world champion. I compared it to Bret Hart in WCW in '98. I totally forgot he was working there, and he had a Money in the Bank briefcase.
I agree. I mean, this is what irritates me so much about the WWE. They are so enamored with their golden children, which are Orton, Cena, Del Rio's now one of them, and then you get the guys who have been there since the Attitude Era, so they still get big pushes. I mean, Kane, Mark Henry, ladies and gentlemen, Mark Henry had no business winning a world title. He has no business looking at the world title. Yet he won it this year. Oh, now, Jerry the King Lawler had a world title shot, and then he got a match at WrestleMania against Michael fucking Cole.
Because he's old and he's a legend. But, yeah, I mean, I'll say something about TNA here, which I found to be interesting. They spent most of the year in their main event picture working with ex-WWE guys. I mean, it was like Jeff Hardy, and we all know what happened there at Victory Road. That was a disaster of, monumental proportions. Sting was in the world title for a lot of it. Angle, Angle, I still like Angle as long as he keeps performing the way he does. He can have a job as long as he wants. But, you know what you're getting there. Mr. Anderson, who's been flip-flopping between face and heel all year long. So, and you know what? And now that they've kind of transitioned away from the ex-WWE guys, we've got Bobby Roode and James Storm, who are essentially the two top guys in the company, and they're working with guys like Hardy and Angle. But with those two in the mix, it really freshened up the world title picture over there.
Absolutely.
In a good way. And it wasn't, yeah.
And I'll say this. They have got a great main event if they are able to do it correctly, between Rude and Storm at Lockdown or Slammiversary. That's why I'm in favor of keeping the James Storm Kurt Angle feud going, because it ties up James Storm until those pay-per-views are up next.
And you know what? It would be appropriate for them to do it at Slammiversary, because they could basically say, look, this year is going to be 10 years.
Right.
And they could bill it as two homegrown talents. And legitimately, they are.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the bottom line. They could bill it as, two homegrown talents headline the 10-year anniversary of this company, and that's essentially what they've got, and I think that's really what they need to focus on. All the ex-WWE guys, they have value. I know a lot of times people almost insult them to the point where they almost devalue them. They have a lot of value, and most of them do deserve to be world title picture, because that's who people watching would associate with that level. It's good that TNA has managed to create other guys to go into that mix.
Right, I agree with you. I mean,
and they got rid of guys like Matt Hardy, who was not working out there at all.
Right.
He was not working out at the gym either.
You guys, it was something I posted on Facebook. It was a little joke thing that I posted on Facebook called "What Wrestlers Are Thankful For," and it's like, Cena's thankful that the WWE still didn't give up on him. Vince is thankful The Rock came back. Sting's thankful that he watched The Dark Knight for the first time. And I got to Matt Hardy and I said, and Matt's response is, I'm thankful I have a brother that loves me and will be able to get my job back in TNA. And Jeff says, don't count on it, Matt.
Yeah, I mean, Jeff Hardy's not really in the bartering position right now. They're going on the limb, giving him a chance. But then again, for some reason, and TNA, WWE did it too, but TNA really saw Hardy at his worst, his first go-around. We're talking borderline teeth falling out from the meth, and missing shows really screwed up Hardy. And they were still marketing.
His last pay-per-view match with TNA before he left the first time was with Monty Brown. I want to say it was Genesis 05. He looked horrible in that match.
And for a while, I mean, they kept him under contract for months and months and months with no intention of using him, just because his merchandise would sell.
Right. And sometimes I don't think, I think that's something that, I do it with the WWE too. Sometimes it's really easy to say, okay, let's fire this guy, or okay, this guy isn't working out, or this or that. It's something that it's a different situation, but something goes on with WWE and Cena. It's like, well, we can't get rid of Cena completely because, hell, his merchandise does generate a lot of revenue for this company. And I get that it's a different it's really easy to say, okay, just fire him and wash your hands of him. It's like, okay, then you take the risk he goes back to WWE and, and he cleans himself up and they benefit from this guy. It's like, Hardy has a huge fan base. When he's clean, he can have great matches. It's just a real roll of the dice, and, I'm hopeful that going to jail this year, then nearly getting his ass fired again, was the case of him hitting rock bottom. Unfortunately, you don't ever really know until the end for the guy if he's hit rock bottom or not.
Well, yeah, it's like the only further down you can go is death.
Right. Well, and again, God bless his soul, Eddie Guerrero, I'm sure that when he got brought back into the WWE, there might have been some people that were saying, okay, we're giving Eddie another chance. This is a guy that you sent to HWA, and he couldn't stay clean and sober one fucking night. He got arrested his first night in Ohio. And
yep.
Now, obviously, Eddie cleaned himself up, and he had a great second run in the WWE. And I'm just saying it's always a risk in this business, in this industry. Anytime you're dealing with a guy that has a drug problem, as bad as Jeff has, it's a huge risk, and do you completely write him off, or do you, try to help the guy, and see what happens?
I think you also got to take a look right now at WWE, and we trash their program probably more than we need to.
No, we don't.
Well, we still watch. There must be some reason we still watch, but
well, we have to counterbalance all the people that say Kane's attack on John Cena last week, where he shoved him down and held him on a table, was brutal. Was absolutely brilliantly done. Like, he shoved him and held him on a table.
I want to say something. I knew that T-shirt was going to get torn off long before Kane even walked out there.
Why is that?
Because if you go back and watch the footage, Cena's shirt had a little tear in the collar.
Are you implying that Kane is not strong enough to rip the shirt?
I'm just saying they did something to make it easier for him to rip the shirt. Just saying, I knew that was coming. Just throwing that out there.
Okay.
Hogan used to do that a lot with some of his shirts.
Who's that?
Hogan used to do that a lot with some of his shirts. You'd see like a little tiny tear on the front so that it would be easier for him to tear it.
Well, how embarrassing would it be if he couldn't rip it?
Very.
He ripped off a Tim Tebow jersey in some really freaking weird interview about a month ago.
That was on ESPN Sports Nation, and you kind of get the sense that one host is Colin Cowherd, and you kind of get the sense that depending on the subject, that's how much he's engaged. If it's something he wants to debate, he's very engaged. If it's something he really doesn't watch, like pro wrestling, he really kind of was just like, oh, yeah, cool, that's great. And then you have Michelle Beadle, who I think she's drunk when she does this show.
I couldn't tell if Hogan was praising him or insulting him, because he cut a promo on him, but it wasn't like insulting. It was just like until you have a million fans like me or whatever, and it's like, right, okay.
Yeah. Well, whatever.
Anyway,
I think it's safe to say at this point that Tim Tebow has more fans than Hulk Hogan.
Right now he does,
that.
yeah. Right now, probably so. Tim Tebow is one of the hottest guys in the NFL. It's cooled off for the past couple of weeks with losses, but...
Well, yeah, because I'm just going to say it, they're figuring it out. The magic trick's not working anymore. People understand. Score points, score points, score points. Don't change the defense late. Like that oh-so-brilliant defensive mind Rex Ryan did. I know. This defense has worked all night. He can't really pass the ball, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a guy out there to cover the passing lanes and open up the running for him. That's brilliant. I'm so fucking smart. We're going to the Super Bowl this year, everybody. Oh, wait, he just scored on us.
Which, by the way, James, you predicted Jets and Eagles at the Super Bowl.
They're both out, yeah.
But Jets are not out yet, are they?
Yeah, they're done. Let me put it this way. Every other team in the league would have to lose this week, and they'd have to win, basically.
Yeah,
to get in. it's going to take a lot of. They're not statistically out, but I think the Lions have to beat Green Bay, and there was one.
So the Jets are AFC.
Yeah, the Jets. It doesn't matter what the Lions do because the Jets are in the AFC.
Oh, okay. Something has to happen. I can't remember. There was some
I think the
ridiculous...
Bengals have to lose, the Steelers have to lose, and it's something crazy.
It's a lot of teams
they
have to
win,
lose.
Obviously.
Yeah, a lot of teams have to lose that are anywhere near their record, and it's pretty unlikely. And of course, they have to win, and frankly, they're not playing like a team that can win.
And I fucking love it because I hate that coach. I absolutely cannot stand Rex Ryan.
Was it nice watching him eat a big slice of humble pie at the press conference last week?
Oh, he doesn't. He doesn't ever. He still tries to talk crap. You know, and it's like, look, you are a guy that acts like you have already won multiple Super Bowls. You've reached the AFC Championship game back-to-back years. Congratulations. That means you keep coming up one game short. Seriously, it'd be the same issue. Seriously, what this guy basically is proving is he's this decade's Andy Reid.
Ooh. I like Andy Reid, though, as a coach.
Well, I'm not saying Andy Reid. Andy Reid's a nice guy. He doesn't talk his out of his ass all the time. But let's be honest, Andy Reid has a history of getting to the NFC Championship game and not winning it. And he got to the Super Bowl once, and he pretty much watched the Tom Brady show.
He only lost by 3, so I mean that's not terrible.
That was Carolina. I thought it was Carolina. Carolina's the one that lost by 3.
No, they all. I think all of the Patriots Super Bowls in the last decade were decided by 3 points or less. The Panthers. Yeah, the Panthers, the Rams, the Giants, and the Eagles. I think all of them were by a margin of 3 points or less.
By the way, that was the last time I ever did a backflip legitimately. A standing backflip. When they made that circus catch, the Giants in the Super Bowl, I literally did a standing backflip.
I wish that you had that on video.
James, I'm going to be honest. I don't believe you worth a damn. You might have tried.
No, I can do I legit can do backflips into pools and stuff like that, but I did a standing one then. Landed on my freaking knees, and I just jumped straight up, landed on my freaking knees, backflip style, and it was pretty incredible.
And one time I shot a hole-in-one at the golf course and then went to the bowling alley, bowled a perfect game. And then as I was driving home, I saw a car that broke down. Turns out it was Heidi Klum, and I slept with her in the back seat of my car.
Really?
You
just accomplished a lot there. That's a pretty good day at the office.
I was like, that's your perfect day.
That was your Tom Brady day, man. That sounds like something he would do.
No, I did do that. Nick, I do this crazy shit all the time. We have a playground like 5 feet out of our front door, probably about 25 feet. And they have monkey bars there, and I always do these ridiculous acrobatic shits off the top of them, and really like X Division style shit. I probably should.
Yeah, the guy that told me once he's shaped like a tomato can is going to say is tell you what, film it and post it on your Facebook page, then we'll see.
Okay, so if I do a backflip off of a monkey bars and land on my feet and post it on my Facebook page, would you believe it?
Well, yes, because then I'd have evidence.
Okay, sure, let's do it.
Next
time I'm at the park with a camera, I'll do it for you.
It's like these people that say they saw Bigfoot. Like, yeah, I was in the woods, and he walked out from behind the tree. Okay, evidence. I didn't have a camera.
Yeah, exactly. Well, especially in this day and age when you have cell phone cameras everywhere, it's like, dude, you know who I saw and she was almost naked, blah, blah, blah. It's like, oh, yeah? Did you get any pictures? No. Then I don't believe you.
Yep.
That's period.
No.
By the way, I was walking with somebody a few days ago. Well,
you walked.
A year ago. I was talking to some guy, right? A big friend of mine, and he says to me, we see a girl, and he says, I like her. And I'm like, well, go talk to her. He's like, I'll Facebook her. And I thought, Whatever happened to one guy going up to another person and saying, "Hi"? When was this all replaced by the tweet and the poke?
I don't like to give her a poke, if you know what I mean.
Oh, boy.
There you go. All right,
I'm going to open up my own social networking page. It's just going to be called Fuckbook. It's going to be pages where people can set up for anonymous sex.
Let's see. I'm going to type that in right now to the address bar and see if that actually exists already.
Right now, some Jewish guy is making an incredibly boring movie about this website's creation.
Yeah, it exists. There already is a fuckbook.
Damn it,
guys. Take it easy. I'll see you guys next week. All right.
All right, later, man. All right, that was James Walsh, the Lord and Master here at the Wrestling Epicenter. And Nick, you and I have a little bit of time here to talk about random stuff. What do you say we predict what is going to happen in 2012?
All right. Well, according to the Mayans, we will all die on December 21st, 2012. So I'm going to predict that won't happen.
I hope not. But yeah, wrestling related. Well, I think the first question I have: who do you think is behind the "It Begins" promos?
See, you had a good point, and it was anytime creepy stuff starts happening around an Undertaker return, you might believe you should believe it's him. But the way Jericho is going out of his way to deny it's him kind of convinces me it is him. And people are like slowing it down and breaking it out, and I guess like on the notebook it read Chris and it was crossed out. I'm thinking it might be Jericho.
Yeah, I think it's got to be either Jericho or Undertaker. And I'm leaning more towards Jericho at this point, just based on the language that's in the promos themselves, assuming that the promos contain any clues at all. I don't know. It just feels like it's something for Chris Jericho. And if it's not, then it's got to be Undertaker.
I mean, with Undertaker, a lot of his promos and stuff have more of a gothic feel to them, and I know like that the kid is kind of creepy, but it doesn't really feel Undertaker-like to me. There's more of a direct reference to graves and stuff when the Undertaker's involved.
Right. So yeah, and if you had to pick it right now, who do you think is going to win the Royal Rumble?
Boy, if I had to pick right now, that's a hard one. That is a hard one. I'm actually.
Yeah, you know what? There's nobody right now that's really like. Okay, when Brock Lesnar won it, I knew as far back as Survivor Series that he was going to win it. With the second he dropped the belt, it's like, all right, he's going to win the Rumble. But here, there's really no one guy who's really on the path right now that you would think, okay, that guy's definitely going to win the Rumble.
I'm actually going to pick Jericho. I think what will happen will be Jericho will return, he'll win the Rumble, and then he'll feud with Punk. That seems to be the popular internet rumor that it's going to be Jericho and Punk at WrestleMania for the belts. So I think I'm going to.
And I would think that would be great.
Right. It should be. I mean, unfortunately, as long as Punk doesn't start going, go to sleep on every one of his promos, or Anaconda Vice.
Right. This is going to be an interesting WrestleMania, I think. You're going to see a big, heavy Attitude Era presence on the show. You got Rock and Cena. I think Triple H and Undertaker 3 is going to happen again. I don't see anything else happening with those two guys. Jericho and Punk is likely for the WWE title, assuming Jericho's behind the It Begins things. And I wouldn't be surprised if you saw Mick Foley face The Miz. He said in an interview that he would like to work with The Miz, and Foley's back now, so they could set that up for the future. And there are rumors of Goldust facing Cody Rhodes for the IC title.
Why?
So yeah, what's
Cody gets. Why Goldust versus Cody? I know that there's a story there because they're brothers, but it's like Goldust, really? I mean, we're gonna give a WrestleMania match to Goldust at this point.
Here's the problem with Goldust.
Oh no, you're back.
I'm back.
Welcome
Here's
back.
the problem with Dustin Rhodes, Goldust, whatever the hell you want to call him, is the best. Well, not the best worker, but a really, really, really good worker that for the past decade.
Ago.
What's that?
He was many years ago.
Well, I have to believe he still can do it. You don't know if he can do it or not because he's had stupid things to work with. The Goldust character came back, and he's not really done much in the WWE. They've kind of just put him in there to get people over. He worked with somebody, I can't remember, it might have been Sheamus. Was it Sheamus that he worked with and helped really a lot the ECW days?
I have no idea.
I'm pretty sure it was Sheamus.
They tried to make it seem like that when they did a squash match with Goldust and Sheamus on Raw, but I mean, it's like, I'm sorry, I just haven't seen that in Dustin in a long time. And
apparently he's blocking people off of his Twitter account if you don't believe in Jesus Christ.
Yes, but you want to know what, you want to know what, Dustin? I don't care if someone believes in Jesus Christ. I have a real problem with the guy who admits he went to the ring coked out of his mind and put someone in danger.
When did he admit this? In his book?
Yeah, he said this in TNA. He said he was coked out of his mind when he wrestled the guys.
Well, it showed, because Black Rain wasn't very good.
Yeah, so you know what, Dustin?
Or that might have been his babyface run in 05, which, again, also was not very good.
You know what, I'll just say this. I'd rather have a sober heathen than a coked-up Christian.
Yeah, and the thing about Dustin is that he, not only is, was he like, okay, Goldust was around back in 96. That's how old this character is. Dustin had, okay, Kane and Undertaker, at least, say what you will about them, at least they've been, like, in the forefront for that amount of time since their characters were created. So it's like they're still a regular presence on TV. Dustin has been a non-entity pretty much since 99 and has been bouncing from company to company. I mean, how many returns to the WWE has he had? His best thing in the last decade was his tag team run with Booker T. And that's it. He had a couple runs in TNA. Both of them were bad. And we were saying, like, he was old back in 05.
Right. Oh, God. I mean, this is a guy who, what was it? He got fired because he didn't show up for a show because he had to appear in court. It never dawned on him, I should really tell the WWE I have to make a court appearance. Like, seriously, that is the true story. He had to make a court appearance depending on a domestic violence charge with his second wife or his girlfriend or something, and it never dawned on him to inform the WWE until after it happened. Now, I insulted WWE a lot, but I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt that if a guy says to the agents with enough notice, hey, I can't be available to work these shows on these days because I have to take care of a court issue, I'm willing to bet they're going to cut him some slack.
Yeah. So the question I have in regards to Goldust, is he really worth reviving at this point? Trying to make him relevant again.
And here's the thing, he hasn't been wrestling in months. I mean, he got hurt, I know that. He's been, backstage working with the Divas, trying to help them. Which, I don't know, is that the guy is that, what the hell he's trying to do? I have no idea, because it seems like they're getting worse.
Yeah, the matches are getting shorter, too. It's like, when was the last time a Divas match on Raw went over a minute?
When was the last time Trish Stratus and Lita wrestled each other on Raw?
Yeah.
I mean, look, the problem is also with Cody. He's got so much potential. He just keeps getting the worst possible things you can do with the guy. Okay, Cody, you're dashing Cody Rhodes. You think you're so handsome. No, Cody, no, your nose got broken. Now you're tormented. We're going to have you feud with Booker T.
Which at least, he didn't go over this week on Raw. Booker went over, which I'm like, why?
Yeah, well, I guess now, because now they're going to do another rematch at the pay-per-view, and it will be for the title.
Wasn't the last match? Wasn't the pay-per-view match for the title? The last one they did?
Yeah, but I guess now, because Booker's beat him again, he'll get another title shot.
When Foley put over Triple H in 2000 and he was, on his last legs and getting ready to retire, Triple H beat him, 20 times. Okay? Because it's like, okay, look, I'm on my way out. I just need to feed Triple H as much as possible and make him look good. And Foley didn't get a happy ending. He didn't get his win back or whatever. That's why I hate that bullshit. It just made Triple H that much better of a heel. And it set him up for Rock to take down. Duh.
I remember, I know he didn't retire then, but I remember after Hell in a Cell, when he lost Triple H, and the idea was that he had to retire if he lost. As you know, he's going out. It is a poignant moment, but it is sad because, like, oh my God, he lost. It's over. And you know, as he's leaving, Jim Ross very sadly says, "Thank you, my friend. Thank you. I'll miss you." Because Jim Ross is, as an announcer, emotional because he just watched one of his best friends get retired.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen anymore. That doesn't happen anymore. Jerry Lawler comes back and makes The Miz look like an idiot. And they're in Memphis on Monday, so I assume Jerry Lawler's going to have a match.
Yeah, and you know what? It's the same thing with Miz, where, okay, he had you would think that he would be an option for the top 5 of the year, but he gets booked so horribly. I mean, how often does he get made to look like a bitch?
All the time.
Like on Raw this week.
Yeah. Which, Patrick, I think we can agree on this, that quite arguably the worst thing that happened to pro wrestling in 2011 was the plastic water bottle became a deadly weapon.
You know what? I mentioned this in the thread, and I'm drinking Deer Park water right now, and even if the water bottle was full and someone hit me with it at full force, I don't think it would do that much damage.
You know what? I'm going to tape myself and put it on YouTube saying, "Hey WWE, check this out. I'm going to hit myself in the head with a full water bottle because it doesn't hurt." Hell, I got hit with the blunt end of a super soaker that was filled with water, and it didn't hurt that much.
Yeah, it's I don't get it. And I see it on the indie scene. Ring of Honor's even done it, believe it or not, where somebody will pick up a plastic glass of water, a plastic cup of water, hit somebody with it, and the guy will sell it like a gunshot. It's like, dude, that doesn't hurt. I don't know. It's bullshit.
Yeah, and yet guys will then no-sell chair shots. John Cena once got thrown through. John Cena alone. Let's recount John Cena. He has been run over by a car. He got thrown through a spotlight. He took 15 different finishers and was always back by the next week. He rarely, if ever, gets pinned by someone hitting their finisher. But once he gets hit by a plastic water bottle, he goes out. Oh, he goes out like a light. What is there, poison in the water?
I don't know, yeah, but that's the thing. They're also hitting them with open water bottles. So all right, if you hit them with an open water bottle, you know, the plastic is going to collapse when you hit somebody, and the water is going to go everywhere. So it hurts even less. So again,
Patrick, Nick just posted the other day that he watched Uncensored 1997. Right?
Yeah.
Is the selling an open water bottle being thrown at you thing like it was a deadly weapon any worse than Luger selling getting sprayed in the face with spray paint as knockout gas? Any different?
No, that's stupid.
It's about the same on stupidity, but
he didn't roll around holding his eyes and Hogan rolled him over and pinned him while Luger was writhing in agony. Luger just fainted.
Well, yeah, James, okay, but that was 14 years ago. We're talking about the problems of today, and yes, they're both stupid. They are both horribly stupid.
That's probably on Luger. He didn't know how to sell it.
Or maybe someone told him it was mace or something.
I don't know. He didn't know what he didn't know what it was supposed to be. Knockout gas. That's great. But yeah, the water bottle's stupid.
Yeah. Oh God, what's even worse is I look around at the wrestling ring and I'm like, okay, all the potential weapons you have there. You have chairs, you have the steps, you have monitors. You could have a guy come out with a steel pipe. You could have someone have a chain, brass knuckles, and it's a water bottle that becomes the deadly weapon.
Well, look at what happened at, and I didn't see this match, and it was actually, you know, literally, the event was held like 25 minutes away from my house, and I said, hell no, I'm not going. Capital Punishment, which was headlined by John Cena and R-Truth. In that match, the finish of that match, the finish was a little kid threw water in R-Truth's eyes, and then Cena rolled him in the ring. F you, it's over. And I'm like, wow, that might be the worst finish ever. I don't know if it's the worst ever, but it's up there.
Look, a guy getting stuck. I can understand maybe being like shocked, but the fact that you would then regain your awareness once someone started throwing you into a ring, it's like the only thing potentially worse would be a guy saying, "My finger's a gun, bang bang, you're dead," and the guy's selling it.
Oh, that'd be funny.
That might be seen as next.
They might try that. You never know. I mean, you never know. I mean, look at the Cobra. They tried to make that a deadly move.
Oh, man. Oh, hell. Yes, he pushes you down with 3 fingers, and it's a horrible move.
Yep.
Oh, God. And he's still going.
Now, he loses more now, which is good.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
You know, any other predictions for 2012 as far as the wrestling business is concerned?
Yeah, I'll make this prediction. I predict James Storm will regain the TNA World Title, beating Bobby Roode at Slammiversary.
You know what? It's going to happen at one of the big 3 TNA pay-per-views. If it doesn't happen at Lockdown, it'll happen at Slammiversary. If it doesn't happen by Slammiversary, they might even try and get it all the way to Bound for Glory. You know, time will tell.
Yeah. That's going to be hard, though, to try to drag the story out that long.
Right, right.
You know, right now they got an angle to kind of distract him. It's like at some point he's just going to say, fuck it, I want my, realistically he'd say, fuck it, I want my belt back. I don't care what anyone else is doing to me.
Right.
Yeah, so I'll predict that. I will predict that Jim Cornette will not last till the end of 2012 running Ring of Honor.
And that'll be the company he hates, right?
Right. Well, I say this. You want to tell? You can pretty much. You want my impression of Jim Cornette in 1992? I'm so glad to be working here in Smoky Mountain Wrestling. I'm grateful to be away from Jim Herd in the WCW. They don't know how to book a wrestling match. Jim Herd is killing this business. 1995. I'm so glad to be here in the WWF. Unfortunately, Smoky Mountain didn't work out because of that goddamn bastard Paul Heyman. He don't know nothing about booking no wrestling match. He's a 2002. I'm so glad to be here in TNA. Now that I'm away from the WWF, that Vince McMahon don't know nothing about booking no wrestling match. He's killing the business. That's Cornette. By this time next year, we'll be working for Lucha Libre USA and saying Sinclair Broadcasting is killing the business. You want the list? Someone said once about Jim. If we tried to fit everyone that Jim Cornette hates into a room, we'd have to find a room big enough to hold the entire world.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, and I love Jim Cornette to death. I just watched the infamous Dairy Queen incident on YouTube again. That motherfucker's got a temper. I'll say that.
Yeah. Yeah, notice how everyone Jim hates always fired him when he lost his temper. Yeah. They fired me they don't want me to book OVW no more. Well, yeah, because you slapped a wrestler. You're an executive working for the company, and you put your hands on the talent. That can't happen. No, you don't understand. I was working OVW, and he laughed at the boogeyman. Jim, it's the boogeyman. Seriously, every one of the boys are laughing at it. But he laughed at the boogeyman when he was out in front of the public. Jim, there's 15 people in this arena. I don't care. I'll slap him again. Then you're fired, Jim. You can't fire me. I'm Jim Cornette.
You know, the thing, one interview that I heard with him that was fascinating, it was one of his, it might have been his U-Shoot, or it might have been, no, I think it was the WWF Timeline that he did for kayfabe commentaries or something. And he was talking about booking for the WWF in 1997 and how Vince and Russo, McMahon and Russo were so obsessed with stable and everything and how that took precedence over pushing the Patriot. It's like, why are we taking one of our top babyfaces, making him look like shit, and the Patriot, why is he being treated like shit, blah, blah, blah. And, and he got frustrated. Given the situation, I'd be frustrated if people were more interested in talking about the Sable T-shirt spot than they were about booking your main event. But my question was, why is the Patriot in the world titles seen to begin with? Like, that's the thing I didn't get. I'm like, wait, why is he getting a title shot, of all people? I'm sorry, but the Patriot 1997 doesn't really fit the cultural climate of what the WWF was going for and what was actually working.
Well, here's what happened. Brett was doing the anti-America gimmick.
Right.
And to be honest, that was running out. Brett, in general, in the WWF was running out of gas, and the attention went on Shawn and The Undertaker and their feud after Brett won the belt. And, they were running out of gas, so it was just a quick and easy thing to throw together. Okay, we have a guy that waves the American flag versus the guy that hates America. Go!
I mean, I'm thinking, truthfully, I'm like, all right, if you want to have Brett wrestle the Patriot, then isn't he like a throwaway guy on Raw one week where Brett just beats him? I mean, I'm sorry. I just didn't think the Patriot versus Bret Hart was that good of a main event world title program. Even though they did have Undertaker. I mean, the real main event program was, like you said, it was Undertaker and Shawn Michaels. But, I mean, couldn't they have done anything like Ken Shamrock or Vader or anybody? It's like, really, we're going with the Patriot?
Yeah, I agree. It's like, Shawn, again, going back to Shawn's book, he says, people always ask when I was pissed off at Brett going into Survivor Series. No, because I was working main events and he was working the Patriot in the middle of the card. I really had no reason to care about Brett. He was leaving.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
But, I think we're running out of steam on the show, and I've got to get ready to go to bed. So, is there anything you want to say before we're done, Nick?
Nothing really all that important.
All right. Well, I'll say thank you to everybody who listened to us in 2011. I hope you're enjoying your holidays. You all have a good New Year's Day and safe New Year's night. Don't drink too much. And if you are going to drink too much, don't drive home. And we'll see you all again in 2012. And go ahead.
And if you're in Omaha, Nebraska, and you're out drinking, please don't come to Kick 66. I'm sick and tired of dealing with you drunks.
I don't blame you. Drunks can be kind of annoying.
Oh, God. Oh, God, I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna go Jim Cornette on somebody one of these days.
So you're like mini Cornette.
No, because you know what? I never actually slap a guy, and I never start yelling at my boss.
That dude must secretly be a redhead. And I don't mean to stereotype, but redheads are known for having like really bad tempers, and like that guy. He's hilarious to listen to. I can listen to Cornette talk and rant all day long and tell stories. He's great. But, the dude's an angry motherfucker.
Yeah. Yeah, which I'll say this. It's only a matter of time before he snaps and gets fired from Ring of Honor, and then he is working for Shikara or something.
Mm-hmm.
And it says, those guys at Ring of Honor don't know how to book no main events.
Well, again, we'll see how that all goes. And again, thank you to everybody for listening. And thank you, Nick, for being here with me. Thank you to James for setting everything up. And we will see you all again next year.
Happy New Year.